Satoshi Kon seemingly has a theme with his films and shows. The idea of reality and fantasy being muddled is a constant in the majority of his work. Perfect Blue is a psychological horror about an actress not being able to differentiate her surroundings, leading to an uncertainty about what's actually going on. Paprika is a mind-bending sci-fi thriller that puts Inception to shame with its visuals and trippy and sometimes body horror-inspired set pieces. Tokyo Godfathers. And the subject of today's video, Millennium Actress, a film that I went into on the back of releasing the Perfect Blue video, assuming that I'd be getting the same kind of merge between reality and fiction, and thank God I was wrong. Millennium Actress isn't the smash hit cult classic that Perfect Blue is. To be honest, I go so far to say it's probably the least well known of the 4 movies Satoshi Kon directed before his untimely death in 2010. However, I'd also go so far to say it's one of the best celebrations of filmmaking that I've seen since, The Muppets?
No.
No.
Lo siento, pero no.
Oh my goodness! Oh, that's wonderful!
That means no.
Cinema. It means film in Italian, I think. I don't fucking know. Roll the intro.
And the Oscar goes to...
I want to approach this video a little bit differently to my Perfect Blue video, as Millennium Actress is nowhere near as well known. So instead of giving a full analysis and assuming that everyone has watched the film, this will be more of a review and a dive into some of the themes and history that the film pulls from without any real spoilers. Although I do recommend you all watch the film because it's pretty good. So, what's this film about? Well, Chiyoko Fujiwara is an up-and-coming film star from a small town in pre-World War II Japan. She falls for this mysterious man on the run who gives her this key before escaping the police. She decides to become a film star so she can travel around the country and try and track down this mysterious lost love of hers. And then, in the present, circa 2001, a duo of filmmakers interview her about her life as she recounts her many films, run-ins with this mysterious man, and her experiences with the ever-changing world of film production, with her point of view being shown during some of Japan's biggest historical events. Godzilla is also there, because of course he is. So there's a pretty good video out there that makes fun of video essays that are way too pretentious for their subject matter.
In this 4.5-hour video essay, I'm going to explore why SpongeBob is, a really good show. Part 1. Early Cinema, 1894 to 1904.
And while I find that video really funny, and I completely despise those kinds of videos that act like they need to explain the, significance of the invention of the wheel to talk about Hobbs and Shaw, I'm going to do the same thing with this video, because I'm a hypocrite and I've got nothing else to do.
You're a phony! Hey, this guy's a great big phony!
Millennium Actress is a celebration of filmmaking. It dives into the different genres and historical events that Japanese cinema endures during the 1900s. To anyone that knows anything about world history, that includes the likes of Akira Kurosawa, Ozu Yashijiro, war propaganda, and of course... that weird Japanese Spider-Man show being the precursor to Power Rangers. Japanese cinema has been around for roughly a century, with Millennium Actress taking the types of films being made from all throughout that time and visually showing us the passage of said time. From early samurai movies such as Kurosawa's in the 40s to the big sci-fi films of the 70s and 80s. This film is a love letter to it all, and making our point of view characters take an active part in the history of the medium makes the evolution of it that much more personal. To an extent, the film makes the history of filmmaking seem much longer than it actually is, with Satoshi Kon using his famous techniques of blurring reality and fiction to really make that time period seem longer than it actually is. For example, during the famous run scene, which I recommend everyone watch on its own as it's the best scene in the film, Chiyoko is shown to be running / riding / taking a carriage through different time periods as part of her films. As the film rarely portrays Chiyoko as being in the films, but rather shows her characters living in the worlds of the films that she stars in, it makes it seem like this endless, timeless journey for our main characters. I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent here because this film does something that I really like in fiction, and I'm basically going to be talking about a bunch of other fictional things that does the same thing. So if you really just want to hear about the movie, you might want to skip ahead on this bit, but I'm just going to go on a bit of a rant for now. So yeah, this bit's unscripted.
I think I know why we still meet here century after century. It's not because you want to see whether or not I'm ready to seek death. I don't think I'll ever seek death. By now you know that about me. So I think you're here for something else.
There's a trope I always really like to see in films and TV shows and books, where the passage of time is shown via the main character at an accelerated rate. It's normally with characters that are immortal or gods. It's been the subject of a Doctor Who episode or two. Jojo kind of did it with Phantom Blood to Battle Tendency to Stardust Crusaders, but the original source of my love for it is this series here. It's a series I read as a kid about immortal vampires that had a prequel series that was about the main character's mentor. It was a bit like Obi-Wan getting a prequel series about his younger day. Oh, wait a minute.
Hello there.
What I really like about this book series is that it treated every time period as a change of scene. The main character is tracking down a rogue vampire in the 1600s, for example. Maybe he loses him and then finds him again during the Blitz. I think it's been a while since I read them. Recently, this was shown in the Netflix series The Sandman. It's a story originally written by Neil Gaiman, who also wrote the source material for American Gods, Good Omens with Terry Pratchett, Coraline, and a heap of comic books such as Marvel's 1602. In episode 6 of Sandman, we're introduced to the immortal man Hob Gadling. We first meet him in the 1300s, and then every time after that, about 100 years has passed. Every time we see him, the world around him has changed. What was once a dingy little tavern in London turns into a very clean and tidy pub in the 1700s, and then it's a brothel during the Victorian era, and then it's a pub in the 1980s, etc, etc. Millennium Actress has the same feeling for me, where the history of the world is shown through the eyes of someone who is watching it all happen at once, like the Eternals, but not. Another example would be Marvel's, where the passage of time in the Marvel universe is shown through the eyes of a Daily Bugle reporter. The reporter, as a young man, sees Namor and Captain America team up in World War II, the coming of Galactus, and then the death of Gwen Stacy as he grows older and heads towards retirement. Maybe it just shows that I'm a history buff, or I've got no life or something, I don't know. In my last video, I spoke about Kon wanting this film and Perfect Blue to be like sisters telling similar stories. One showing a different aspect of the main characters' interactions with their respective fan bases. Kon, when asked about this aspect, said, "I did research before making the film and I visited a number of those idol events, but I didn't see the kinds of examples that were used in this film. Also, to reveal the behind-the-scenes secrets about the entertainment world was never my intention." When it comes to Millennium Actress, fan culture is definitely a big part of the narrative, and one of the underlying messages. Fans drive the industry. If you look at the last century of cinema, you can start to see the most popular films of each decade become quite similar to each other. From the musical dance films starring Gene Kelly and Frank Sinatra to the westerns of John Wayne, every time you look at a decade, it seems that the most popular films are all one genre, from cowboys to song and dance to the superhero blockbusters of today. These films have been driven by fans, sometimes to the extent that other non-genre films underperform because they aren't in the cultural zeitgeist. I think that that's a fairly negative comparison, if I'm honest, but the positive message Kon was trying to put in his film is put center stage by Genya Takabana, who is our POV character. Genya is a director and is the one interviewing Chiyoko in the modern day, circa 2001, and is also a self-proclaimed fan of hers. When he and his underling/camera boy interview Chiyoko, they are seemingly transported into her films to assist her in her search for her long-lost love. In many ways, Genya is the one keeping Chiyoko moving forward, assisting her against movie villains whilst being her valet and at one point giving her pep talks to motivate her on. When Genya shows up in the past as his younger self instead of the flashback version, he's working as a newbie in the industry. No. Genya still proves to be a massive impact on Chiyoko, giving her the one thing in life that she wanted most: closure. Satoshi Kon wanted to express that cinema would be nowhere near what it is today if it wasn't for the audience, for the fans, and Genya is a massive melting pot of all the positivity and admiration Satoshi Kon had for his audience and the audience has for his films. Satoshi Kon once said in an interview, "I decided to start my own website, but it's not intended to explain me or my personality to other people, and I didn't expect that so many people would read it. I had so many reactions from these people, which surprised me a great deal. It makes me feel happy if people are interested in my work, but not when they're interested in me. So when I received all these reactions, I didn't know how to keep my distance from them. Maybe that's one of the reasons I don't write so much on my site anymore." Millennium Actress isn't just a celebration of films and cinema, but it's a love letter to the audience. An audience that Satoshi Kon was once overwhelmed by, but grew to appreciate. The film itself is a compelling love story that spans over a century of filmmaking. It showcases so many genres and eras of history in films that I could recommend it for that reason alone. If you haven't seen it, please watch it. It may not be as horrifying as Perfect Blue, it may not be as funny as Tokyo Godfathers, it may not be as mind-bending as Paprika, but it's far more of a love letter to the medium than any of Kon's other works, and a love letter to the fans. God damn it, I'm gonna have to do Tokyo Godfathers at Christmas, aren't I?